Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. I do apologize for the break in content, but as I said in the previous video, I was getting over a flu. Well, apparently I wasn't getting over the flu. I was only starting the flu. And then I had a sick baby and a sick wife. So, 4 days of recovery. We're all doing better now, so content can continue. Still not 100%, but hopefully this time is the end of it, not just the middle of a roller coaster. Anyways, onto the story. Carpooling, written by Majestic Teach 6677. Beloved, I called out with frustration. They should be here in the closet. If I couldn't find them, I'd be late for work. Where are the armored safety plates for my void suit? They're in the kitchen with your suit, the love of my life called back. I moved them this morning to be sure that you wouldn't forget to wear them. Well, the love of my life, except in moments when she moves my things without telling me. Then she becomes the irritation of my life. Safety first, fun last, I thought to myself, as I finished putting on the underlayer for my void suit. I already suspected the situation was going to be a bit more potentially dangerous than the Skylar let on, although I thought my wife was overdoing it by insisting I wear the void suit and full safety plates. But as any married sapient can tell you, the words, yes, dear, will save your life and sanity. So, if my wife insisted on the void suit with armor plates, I'd wear the damn things. Finished with the suit underlayer, I stretched all 4 of my legs to test the fit and looked around. Datapad, galactic ID, and my pouch of hard currency chits were ready for me to grab and go. Honestly, I didn't need the hard currency, but it was useful to buy things that wouldn't show up on the joint account that I had with my wife. We trusted each other in everything, yet my wife didn't need to know how many tapioca puddings I got from the human commissary. I don't know exactly what's in tapioca pudding, probably a narcotic of some kind, since humans enjoy consuming strange and deadly substances of all types. I mean, seriously, who drinks an industrial thinner like ethanol for fun? I know the pudding isn't healthy, but it's addicting. My wife just doesn't need to see the charges from the commissary on a daily basis and yell at me for eating junk food. Datapad, ID, and hard currency collected, I took in a deep breath and headed to the kitchen to grab my packed midday meal. Unlike humans and most other creatures, we don't need food or beverages to wake up. We stack energy reserves and only plan daily meal intakes to be polite with other sapient beings during mandatory meal breaks. Left to our own devices, we, Shikari, would eat only once per week, as biology demands. This is in stark contrast with my carpool ride today, Skylar. She seems to ingest copious amounts of disgusting liquid called coffee, along with any baked goods she can get her hands on every morning. And she is an absolute short-tempered nightmare until both beverages and confectionaries are consumed. I paused for a moment as I realized she would be responsible for driving me to work before consuming coffee or baked goods. Perhaps carpooling was a bad idea. But curiosity had gotten the better of me, and it was too late now. My wife rubbed a claw along my side in a gesture of affection before helping me put on my void suit and the armor plates. Once done, I stood up and looked myself over, encased in a sand-detect void suit with full safety plates. It would take a supernova to hurt me. I leaned over and picked up the 2 food containers and held them in my claws for a moment. Outside, there was a loud rumbling along with the beeping of the human vehicular horn. Remember, she only gets this if she behaves, my wife reminded me, as she tapped on the second portable food container. I splayed my front legs in acquiescence, earning a satisfied hum from my wife. I headed to the door to put on my void suit helmet, activating the exterior speakers and microphone. I opened the door and stepped out into the day. At the end of the path to my front door was Skylar, wearing little more than a Terran embassy uniform and helmet. Behind her was a contraption that had so fascinated me, a 2-wheeled vehicle she had said was a Harley. And evidently, the old combustion engine was tuned to run ethanol rather than something called gasoline. She joked that if she had a rough day, she could suck out some of the fuel and get drunk. She also mentioned that if she ever ran out of fuel, all she needed to do was stop off at a bar or liquor store and get something at least 150 proof. This was one of many boasts about humanity I needed her to explain at some point. I wasn't sure exactly what the connection was between ethanol and the mathematical or physical proofs. Knowing what I do about humanity, there's probably some strange correlation between the number of mathematical proofs the average human can solve after drinking a set amount of ethanol. In any case, there was something disturbing about the vehicle that run on human intoxicant, realistically, an industrial solvent no matter what humans claim. As I approached, Skylar took off her helmet and looked at me with a rather annoyed expression. It was at this point I wondered if she was calm enough to drive, or if she required coffee or another human energy beverage first. Perhaps one of those things she called a donut? Really, Raquel, she said as she looked over my void suit. We're just going to the embassy, not into orbit. There's no need for a fully armored void suit. I have doubts as to the safety of this vehicle, as does my wife, I stated firmly. If I recall my research correctly, even humans sometimes refer to motorcycles as donor cycles, due to the danger. While I am interested in satisfying my curiosity about this mode of transport, I am not willing to put my life at risk. I promised your wife that I wouldn't go over 30 miles an hour, she grumbled. Right, I said flatly. She has observed your desire and ability to go from naught to faster than acceptable on inhabited roads. If I remember correctly, it takes you less than 2 seconds to exceed 30 miles an hour on this Harley of yours. Skylar rolled her eyes before responding. She threatened to take away her baked skeleton if I put you in danger or go too fast. Trust me. I'll get you to work safely. We shall see, I said blandly. I trusted her and was curious to feel what it was like to ride on a motorcycle. But I also trusted my wife and knew this could be more dangerous than anticipated. Don't forget, my wife called from the door to my home. I have GPS tracking on my datapad. I'll know if you go too fast. Ugh. She needs to learn to trust me, Skylar mumbled under her breath as she put on her helmet and helped me onto the back of a Harley. After the skateboarding incident, do you blame her? I asked my human friend and co-worker. That doesn't count. There was alcohol and a double dare involved, Skylar responded with frustration. And in this case, she's already threatened to take away the skeleton. There are two things humans take very seriously, all things furry and baked goods. As much as I like to ride fast, I'm not going to lose her skeleton over a ride to work. I see, I said calmly while taking a deep breath. I hope the upcoming ride to work on a Harley would be as thrilling as Skylar promised. Besides, we need to build her trust, she mused thoughtfully. I figure in 4 to 5 times on safely carpooling, and then she'll turn off the GPS tracking. Then you'll get to experience just what a Harley can do, and I'll still get my yummy baked goods. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.